Hello, welcome to White Dark Tarot, where the reader is bubbly, but the readings can get dark. So today I'm going to be working on the October second half readings for all the zodiac signs. I can't believe how fast time has been moving. So let's get to it. Starting with Aries. Oh, rough start. Nine of Swords. Three of Swords. Dang. Okay. Five of Cups. Dude. Isn't this Aries full moon supposed to be good luck for the Aries? Oh, there we go. The Emperor. You're showing up as yourself. Yay. Okay. So we're seeing the Six of Wands. It's recovery. Son of Wands. Still in the fire element about passion and action. And okay. He's basically kind of like a Knight of Wands. No. Okay, there we go. We got the Ten of Cups and the Son of Cups. Death and Temperance. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, we're looking up. Mother of Wands. Okay. Clarify death and temperance. What exactly is this about? Father of Swords. Okay. So I am going to. Hmm. Well, Aries, it looks like you're recovering from something hard. I forget who I was watching. I watch other tarot YouTubers as well, because I just find it fascinating how sometimes our readings seem to resonate together. But yeah, this seems to be something that hurts, something fierce. With the Emperor here, though, I know I was excited to see him here because the Emperor is, the Aries card in the deck, and it's always a good thing when you show up for as yourself in your own reading. But honestly, what this feels like is something hurt, because Nine of Swords is about anguish, anxiety. It's usually though about like self-imposed negative thoughts. It is the card of being stuck in your own head. In my other deck, she shows up as a crying woman next to a mirror, a large mirror where there's a bunch of faces haunting her, but really it's kind of the, it represents anguish and pain, but it's also the it's all in your head card. It's the get your head out of your ass card. Three of Swords is about heartbreak, pain, but also when you really look at it, these swords, they're bound together and there's blood dripping off of the blades. And this again, it just feels like you're restricting yourself somehow. And it probably has something to do with this. The Five of Cups, that's that's about loss. That's about losing something. But in this deck, it's about going back to a dry watering hole. And there, that leads me to the Emperor. And that tells me that it's almost like, see, the Emperor is very rigid. He's very stuck in his ways. He's authority. He represents authority. He represents, a leader. I mean, he's an emperor, but he's also very rigid and stuck in his ways. And again, with the head out of your ass card showing up, Five of Cups about going back to a dry watering hole. This is telling me that I just heard the word bravado. So it's almost like you keep resorting to going back to your bravado, your mask for comfort, for safety. But that watering hole is dry. It's almost like your default coping strategy is to revert back to look at me. Look at me, and you pump out your chest and you're like, "Look at me. I'm all this." But the Emperor feels like something that you're wearing and not something that you are. And the reason it's not working anymore is because it's not authentic. And that's often what people do, right? When they are coming from a place of shame or guilt. Perhaps this also ties into the last bonus rating that I did for you guys. That's what people do when they're operating from a place of shame is they put something else up that looks unattainably good. They pretend. And that's what this feels like you're doing. Because you don't go from the Nine of Swords, Three of Swords, Five of Cups all of a sudden to the Emperor. It feels like something hurt on a deeper level. It started making you reflect on things that you usually try to push out of your mind. And you just slap on the Emperor, slap on that mask, and you're like, I'm good. No, you're not. Healing looks more like this, like the Six of Wands, like hope, persistence, and a steady climb. Yeah, but there again with the Son of Wands popping up here, the Knight of Wands, essentially. Passion and speed, and right after the Six of Wands, no, that's not how this works. Not if you wanted the effects to be permanent. The Son of Wands being here also feels like you need to have patience with yourself because you're going through something profound. All this pain back here is an opportunity for growth. But the thing is, when you put on the bravado, when you put on the act, the mask, and you numb, you're just tossing away a valuable opportunity for growth. This is a lesson that you are being gifted. Because here's the thing that a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people, when they're heartbroken or when they're heartbroken or their ego got bruised, what they do is they go to, readers that say, oh, you're the chosen one. They're going to come back. They're heartbroken without you. Oh, they miss you. And They go to the people that tell them what they want to hear. But let me tell you something. I know my channel is tiny, but at least I operate from a place of integrity. Those people don't have any. They don't care about you. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care about the long-term effects of what they're doing. They tell you what you want to hear and they keep you hooked because it makes you feel good in the moment, but in the long run, that stuff will ruin you. You know what you're doing is you're trading long-term gain for a quick fix. Just a cheap dopamine hit. When really what you need to be doing is taking this opportunity, this lesson, digging deep. Right now, what was it? Was it Venus conjunct South Node is going on, and we also got the full moon in Aries. And it's about getting real with ourselves. You know, this time is about really evaluating because, 95% of our actions actually come from our subconscious thoughts. 95% of our brain activities actually happens in the subconscious, and that affects our actions. So look there. What's in your subconscious? And how you look there is either A, go to therapy and have somebody help you, have a professional help you, or two, or B, start questioning yourself. Everything. I do it to myself all the time. I have a little therapist in my head constantly. I graduated therapy, but she's still sitting there in that chair. Everything that you do, question your motive. Why am I doing this? Because that's where your subconscious is coming out. It's coming out in your actions, Like for example, let's say you found someone you really like and then you pushed them away. Why'd you do that? Because subconsciously, people, they only accept the love that they think they deserve, whether they know that they're doing that or not. You can preach all day, every day. I deserve a man that does this. I deserve a woman that does this. I deserve this kind of XYZ. You can't make it last until you fix the subconscious. If deep down you're carrying guilt or shame, if deep down you don't believe that you deserve that, that's what you need to fix. And if you don't believe that you deserve that, then you need to become somebody that does. That's where the real work happens. And that shit's uncomfortable. That's why a lot of people avoid it. They choose escapism. They choose quick fixes, cheap thrills. They go to the TikTok readers that are going to be like, oh, everything's going to be okay. You're amazing. But again, those people don't care about you. They want your likes. They want your comments. They want your engagement so that they can make money. They don't give a shit what happens to you. They're telling you what you want to hear because that's their bread and butter. You're vulnerable. You're weak. And they're exploiting you. Now take your power back. Do the work. And even then, if you keep reaching for that kind of content, ask yourself why. What is it inside myself that I am so afraid to look at? To the point that I'm willing to go to Delulu land and blame it all on the other person. When in any scenario, it takes two to tango. And I'm not preaching anything that I don't practice myself. Last situation that I was in, I had to take a good hard look at myself. Why did I tolerate that? Why is that? Why did that feel like love to me when my brain knew better? Why did I want that? It's because I'm naive. It's because when I look at people, I don't see anything else but potential. When I look at people, I see what they can become. And I truly like to believe that they can achieve that. Some kind of savior complex, I guess. The I can fix him mentality. Maybe it's also because love to me feels like something that I have to try for. And if I'm not trying hard to be accepted, then it's not love. Because that's the kind of love I'm familiar with. So I'm working on that. Looks like you need to do something similar. Son of Cups, Ten of Cups. It looks like, though, once you open that can of worms, once you break the seal, that's your key to emotional fulfillment. You're going through a death and rebirth and temperance. You've got two of, in my opinion, the most healing cards in the deck. It is drastic transformation. Clarifying temperance and death, I got the Father of Swords, and that's about truth. That's about discernment. That's about finally sitting with yourself and seeing yourself clearly. Mother of Wands, there's a little bit of a protective, defensive energy here. Drop it. You don't have to protect yourself from yourself. You know, even if you have a hard time being real, being authentic with other people, least you can do is be real and authentic with yourself. Because long term, and I don't say all this just to be harsh, this is actually the advice that you probably need, especially if you're getting hooked on masking and bravado and feeding your ego just to get by. The trick to authenticity is to genuinely clear your shit out. There's a story that I live by in a book about Buddhism that I read once. It was about this young monk that was sweeping in front of a temple. And the older monk told him to sweep behind the shrubs too. And this younger monk said, but nobody looks there. And the older monk said, that's exactly why you sweep there. It's easier to be authentic when you have nothing left to hide. It's easier to be yourself when you know who yourself is. You can move more freely when you're not carrying all that baggage anymore. You can live more freely when you don't have to keep scuttling back into your shell. You can be braver out there in the world. When you have built yourself up so solid that a little bit of heartbreak isn't going to break you completely. When you're not so fragile, your ego isn't so fragile, that a little bit of rejection destroys you completely. That's why we go through karma, right? That's why we go through the lessons. It's to learn, it's to grow, it's to become wiser, and to navigate life better. Become the bird that sits on the tree, not trusting in the branch beneath her feet, but her own wings. Heal so thoroughly that you don't need that mask anymore. My favorite book is Veronica Decides to Die by Paulo Coelho. I really recommend that book. It's life changing. There's an audiobook somewhere here on YouTube, actually. If you just search it, you can listen to it. It's only a couple hours long. It's not a long book. And actually, there's a movie about it, but the movie kind of misses the plot. But anyway, there's a quote in there that I really like, and it's, be the well that overflows, not the cistern that merely contains. When one heals, when one no longer needs the mask, one blossoms. So long term, when you do the work instead of running from it, when you take your power back, And you stop being so dependent on outer things, external things, to keep your ego up and running. And you truly find peace within yourself through accountability and acknowledgement, genuine growth. In the long term, it will set you free. That's why it's so important to do this work, because when you keep running back to the mask, you're only throwing away the rest of your life for temporary comforts. And I say this because everyone deserves a shot at redemption and happiness. Everyone deserves that. It's exactly why I'm naive, because I never care what a person's done in the past. I never care what the skeletons in their closet looks like. I only care about what I see in front of me. Are you trying to do better now? That's all I care about. And yes, this does get me bit in the ass so many times, but I never regret it. I never regret being hopeful for people, because it's bitten me in the ass a lot of times, but it's also gotten me some of the best people in my life. Another thing is that in the long run, when you fix these things, you can finally get your real shot at love. Because isn't that all anyone really wants? It's to feel a sense of belonging, to feel loved. But you'll keep sabotaging it over and over and over again until you can be accountable, you can be vulnerable, you can be authentic. Because you can't build connection without it. Operating from this shame in your subconscious, whether you know why you're doing it or not, whether you want to do it or not, you're going to push people away. People that genuinely want to care for you. All because deep down you don't feel like you deserve that. And you're going to end up reaching for people that are toxic. Because deep down, that's what you think you deserve. You're self sabotaging, and you're going to continue to self sabotage until you go inward and genuinely go through this process right here, death and temperance. Temperance is about healing, death is about death and rebirth, coming out new. Let's pull you some alchemy cards to close this out. Virgin's milk, sun, and the blue temple. Virgin's milk, innocence, naivety, purity. In alchemy, lac virginis is a mystical substance supposedly coming from the virgin's breast. The alchemist asks, how can it be? How can milk come from one not carrying a child? That is precisely the nuanced teaching of lac virginis. When studied as an alchemical concept, it points to a lack of awareness or experience that the alchemist would rather not reveal. Yes, this milky substance is a symbol of purity and innocence, but its shadowed side is naivety and even denial. When the virgin's milk appears, discernment and honesty must be applied to the work. Is something being glossed over, rushed, or presented as perfect? There are likely complexities that need to be addressed so the alchemist can gain the maturity to handle what's next. I don't feel like I need to elaborate on that. And I love this deck. It finishes my sentences. Sun, why can't I read? Expression, vitality, identity. Each morning, the sun graces the night sky, summoning the dawn. Such is the energy of the sun card. With its arrival is an activation and a presence of vitality, of new beginnings. It is said the sun is linked to the hero archetype and the yang dynamic in Chinese alchemy. Through the sun's radiance, we are inclined to see ourselves fully and establish a sense of who we are. We gain confidence and clearer vision. In its light, we are assured that we too have an important role in the world. Associated with masculine dynamics, the sun card certainly carries a risk if not kept in check. Remember, the sun never actually sets, it's the earth that pivots away. Assess whether it's time for you to awaken more fully or turn away and rest. Sunburn humbles us all. One thing this made me think of, and it's not related at all, it just made me think of it, is being in this line of work, right? Psychic, also a psych grad from an Ivy League university. I can see people pretty clearly. Pretty clearly. Like, I know things that I shouldn't clearly. Everything that they do, I quietly, internally psychoanalyze. I mean, I'm not one to give unsolicited advice, though. Except for on this channel, I guess. But you came here by choice. But I see people do the darndest things all the time. I tell them I won't judge. I don't judge. Because being in this line of work, I can't judge. Living the life that I've lived, I can't judge. I've done shit. I've seen shit. I know that shit happens. So, really, when you have really worked on yourself and you've developed non judgment and you've developed unconditional love, there is no more judgment left. All I see are people floundering, going through the same human experience that I am, or that have. I just see people that are where I was. That's it. No judgment. Just a genuine want to help. But when people operate from a place of guilt or shame, even feeling seen like that makes them uncomfortable. And I get lashed out at. I watch people self sabotage with me. I watch people try to gaslight me. Try is the key word there, because they're too busy trying to win a game that I'm not playing. I see people do it all the time. Everything comes out sideways. When I told them from the start that all they have to do with me is be honest, be authentic, why would I punish them for something that I'm asking for? When I say I don't judge, I mean I don't judge. But people that are operating that firmly from in a maladaptive place like that, with that subconscious shame and guilt, doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter how much I try to convince them that you're safe with me. They don't trust it. They won't believe it. And they run. Or they ruin it somehow. They get mean. Then I get it. I understand why they do it. I mean, I have to tolerate it. But it's just the darndest thing. Because I'm like, man, it was really as easy as you just being transparent with me. It was really as easy as that. But humans make things more complicated than they need to be, because they won't look at their own shit. They won't deal with their own shit. And the irony is that self love is also kind of sort of built on a seed of love from others. Everybody's got to start somewhere. That's the catch 22 of it, is it's really hard to develop genuine self-love without working with a mirror external to yourself. And when you're in this line of work, that's basically what I do, right? Is trying to be a mirror for people, trying to give them that unconditional love that they can build their own self-love on, right? And the catch 22 of it is it's hard for people to even accept that kind of love when they don't think that they deserve it. It takes a lot of fighting your inner child throwing a tantrum. It takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to sit through the discomfort of being loved in a way that you don't feel you deserve until you can finally believe that you deserve it. That's the catch 22. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be loved. But until they love themselves, they can't hold it. Until they love themselves at least enough to be aware and to start doing the work, to at least catch themselves like, whoa, why do we want to lash out at this person for loving us? Whoa, why are we trying to sabotage this? This is what we wanted. Until they actually catch themselves, until they develop the self-awareness to catch themselves and do something about it, that's the self-fulfilling prophecy that they continue to live in a loop on a hamster wheel of suck until the day that they die. That's why do the work. Next, the blue temple. Celestial realm, the imagination, expansiveness. Welcome to the blue temple, the home of alchemical imagination. You have entered a space of new depths, new possibilities. The inner eye opens and you become willing to see in a new way. To understand this card, one must study blue itself. It is the celestial color of the sky, the ocean, and the peacock's tail. Though potent, blue slips away. Through this color, our imagination threads together experiences both grim and glorious. Think blue films and blue ribbons, the halls of heaven and the harrows of melancholy. We are taken into the depths of mood, of tone, of the rhythm of the blues. The eternal mystery of blue will only deepen as we study it, and this is precisely the point. Leave the cerebral behind. Cloak yourself in the sapphire robe and sit quietly in the vault of mysteries. Well, Aries, I think I've said enough. But just know that the work that you know you need to do is worth it. We can't choose whether or not we suffer, but we can choose what we suffer for. Now, reason I keep saying this is because it's time that you trade in the quick fixes for the long-term ones. Because by reaching for the quick fixes and the masks every time you feel uncomfortable, you are throwing away an entire lifetime ahead of you that you could spend happy, genuinely happy. You are throwing away any connection, future connection that you could build. You are throwing away genuine love. So if you're going to suffer either way, because that's no way to live, suffer for healing, because healing is not pretty. Healing is hard. Healing takes accountability, and accountability is uncomfortable. Healing takes looking at yourself, and a lot of us run so hard from it that we turn to substances. But that's what it takes. So if you're going to suffer either way, suffer for the thing that's going to bring you long term happiness. Suffer for the thing that's going to bring you a better life. If you're going to suffer either way, do the work. All right, well, that's all I have. So if you liked what you saw here today, please feel free to like, share, comment to help me out with the algorithm, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you get notified every time I post a video. And I will see you in the next one.